Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ MV Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Now, Charlamagne and Yee are on vacation, so I'm holding it down. And I got my brother Mysonne on the line. Mysonne, how's it going, bro?
I'm blessed, King. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good, man. So for people that don't know, you're out there on the front line. You've been out there protesting out in Minneapolis. So what are you seeing out there for people that don't know and want to know? Because all we see is what the media puts on television. So what are you seeing out there?
Thank you for having me, Envy. I've been here for the last 3 days. I want to say we got here on Tuesday, and it's definitely been a lot of protesting, man. We've been pretty much to the site where the brother George Floyd was murdered at. Mm-hmm. We protested in front of the officer's home. We protested at the DA's home. We protested at the precinct. So I've pretty much seen every aspect of the protest. Uh-huh. For the most part, the media is trying to project as if it's just been some violent protests. And, yes, there have been things, Yes, there have been things, but I want to tell you that most of the violence or the violent nature of it, because there's amongst the protesters, there has been no violence. There might be a little disagreement here and there, but for the most part, the protesters are angry with the system. And the police they have initiated violence by shooting rubber bullets off the police station. They've been throwing tear gas. They've been throwing all kinds of smoke bombs off the precinct. So that's from when I got here since Tuesday. That's where I seen, the negativity start. Sure, there angry people, but there haven't been any weapons. I haven't seen anybody shooting anything. Most of the times, the protesters have their hands up. I've seen officers point blank shooting protesters that's walking just like this, their hands up with rubber bullets, throwing tear gas into full crowds. People are angry, and they're angry, man. You seen the same thing we seen, and for the district attorney here to ignore that and then come back yesterday and say that he didn't see anything that was a crime.
Right.
It's like it's a slap in the face, and we most times people don't want to be here. It's a pandemic. You want to be home with your family. You want to make sure that you're safe. The fact that we have to be out here to demand justice for something that the whole world seen was murder, it's just disgusting. It's really disgusting.
Now, people are reporting that they've seen police officers, and I don't know how true this is, but they've seen police breaking windows and starting fires. Have you seen any of that? They're saying that it's not necessarily the protesters. They said it starts from possibly the police breaking these windows and possibly the police starting these fires and then blaming it on the rioters.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much one of the tactics of this government. They put agent provocateurs into the crowds of the protesters, and they create the most havoc, and then they blame it on the protesters so they can have reasons to lock up, to harm, and do things to protesters. That's a strategy that's been used for years. I've seen the video. I cannot confirm nor deny if that is actually the officer who was doing that, but I'm just saying that strategy is not anything new. As somebody who's been protesting for the last 8 years, I've seen, I've heard, I've been a witness to them, the government and the system putting their spies into the crowds, and they be the ones who are actually the ones initiate any level of crime or violence.
Now, I also seen video, and you said you were protesting outside the officer's house. Now, we seen a video where it looked like there might have been like 100 officers outside surrounding his house. Was that true?
That is definitely true. We were standing there, and there was a line of maybe started out with about 20, 30 officers, and then out of nowhere, another 80 of them came out of nowhere, and they just stood there with riot gear, full riot gear, and just to intimidate the protesters. And it's sad, it's just, this whole situation is just sad. We're just looking at it. Most of these people are traumatized. We're dealing with a level of trauma, that is beyond anything that I've seen. Like I've seen, I was really young when the riots happened, and I wasn't actually present at the Ferguson situation, but this is something that I've never seen, and I realized that we have reached a boiling point in America. I think the victimization and disregard for Black life has come to the point, and it's not just Black people out here. There are probably more white people out here than there are Black people, but there are a united front, and everybody has come to the consensus that what is happening can't keep happening, and they don't care. They're not scared. They're taking the tear gas and they're coming right back. Yesterday we were out there, and before the precinct was burnt down, the police had came out because people were knocking on the precinct door. The police, they had boarded everything up, and most people thought that the police weren't inside. And then next thing you know, when they started to bang on the doors, the police came out on the roof, and they started shooting bullets, and they started throwing, tear gas, and then the crowd dispersed because if you don't know anything about it, when they throw that tear gas, it spreads for blocks. Like, it just starts to spread. So everybody's running, trying to clear their eyes, pouring milk in their eyes, doing whatever they have to do. And within another 5 or 10 minutes, the protesters came right back. They are fed up. And the next thing I heard that the police station had been burned down. And we do not want violence. And I say this 1,000 times. Nobody's advocating for violence. Nobody's advocating for negativity. But when I'm having these conversations with these young people from our communities, and I'm saying let's go about this, let's march, let's protest, they look at me dead in my eyes and say they tired of marching. That we've been marching for hundreds of years and they still killing us in these streets. And they're saying that the only thing that this government respects is loss of something. And this is the mindset that they have, and they don't want. And these are good people. These are not criminals. These are not people that's in the street that's doing things like that. These are people who have done everything right. They've got jobs. They went to school, and they reached a point where they say you can't keep taking our lives, wanting us to be peaceful, quote unquote. This is not. When they say no justice, no peace, this is the no peace, and nobody wants to hurt anybody. There hasn't been anybody hurt anybody, but they're saying this property in the capitalistic society that we live in is what's led to the disregard for Black life. Right. These corporations who make billions of dollars, and and they fund these government officials, and which fund our police system, is the reason why that they disregard our life. So they don't see or care about these corporations or these businesses that they're burning down. And the police station is the biggest symbolization of what has disregarded our life so long. So when you see people celebrate the burning down of the precinct, it's not about violence. It's not about wanting to harm anybody. It's a symbolization of something in a government body that has harmed Black people for so long actually being destroyed.
I wanted to ask you this, because you're the perfect person to ask this question to. So opening up the phone lines, I get a lot of people, and even seeing on my thing, and you do both. So you're a perfect person to answer this. People are saying, how do we get so upset when other people kill us, when we kill ourselves all the time? And I think you'll be a perfect person because you're on both sides. You're, Kings Can't Kill Kings March, and you try to just advocate for people to just not be violent towards each other at all. So when people say that, like, hey, we kill each other, what is your response to that, Mysonne?
My response for that is, there's two responses to it. But the one I want people to really understand is when we kill each other, which is happening, you know, where there is poverty, there will be violence.
Right.
You know, and those are just facts. If you change the realities of our communities, if you make sure that the people in our communities can eat and survive, the violence will disappear. But the government knows that, and that's why the poverty rate in the communities that we come from hasn't disappeared, because violence is a necessary component to the capitalistic society that we live in. They need violence so they can fill jails. They need violence. They need us to continue to kill each other. So that structure has been fed. What I say is, when we kill each other, which is by no means anything good for us to go for, when that happens, Jay and JoJo are going to go to jail for the rest of their lives. You know, when they're caught, they're going to spend the rest of their lives. We're going to lose the person whose life they took and the person who took their life.
Correct.
The police are not being held accountable. When we have to sit outside and witness on tape a man sit on a man's neck, you know, with no regard for his life, to look you in the face in a camera, knowing that he's sitting on this, and the man is telling you that he can't breathe. He's calling for his mother. When those things are happening, and they can tell you that they don't see a crime, that right there is one of the biggest miscarriages of justice ever. And that is by the system and the structure that is supposed to protect and serve you. So if the people who are supposed to protect us are the one killing us, and they can't even be held accountable, then we don't have a chance. So when we compare the black on black crime, quote unquote, that they say, which is a myth, because most people, crime is committed by the people who are closest to you. We don't say white on white crime, because whites kill more whites than blacks kill blacks. That's a fact, because during the numbers tell you that. If you Google it and you look, more white people kill more white people than black, because they are the majority in the world. So that's right. A fact. But we always want to give this, but we kill ourselves. Yes, we kill ourselves, but we are going to be held accountable. What we are asking for in this moment is accountability. Envy, if they would have locked those officers up and said, okay, they committed a crime, we would not be here. Why is the loss of life, the loss of black life, not as valuable as the loss of property in America? Why do they value property more than they value us? You know, and that's something that we really have to ask. So when people say that to me, I say, I understand, because I advocate for kings to stop killing kings. I want us to protect ourselves, but I understand the reality also. I understand, if I can't change your reality, if I can't feed you, if I don't make the block, you believe that the block is the only way you're going to survive, so you have to fight your brother who is fighting for the same crumbs that you fighting for. If I can't change that reality, I know that the reality of me stopping the violence in our communities is going to be very low, and they know that as well. You know, if you look at hip hop, if you look at hip hop, the same people that come from hip hop that are now millionaires, that go and they move to these nice areas and they peaceful and they support. And these people came from that violence. The minute that you change their circumstances, they ain't out there committing crime. They rhyming about what they had to do. So that theory is something that we can't allow them to play on us, because most people who actually have gained some level of stature, who have got some money, they utilize these platforms. They want us to say, look, well, we kill each other. They want us to say that. And if you don't understand the dynamics of that, we utilize that and we weaponize that against ourselves. Man, you know, I didn't hear the exact words, that I heard Wiz Khalifa and then was mad, and they saying, oh, we shouldn't be doing this. You know, I understand, but we can't be doing this to the communities and this stuff. And you can't tell people how to vent their anger, especially when you ain't never done anything. Sometimes you just got to be quiet. You have to be quiet, because this is not your field. You know, this is something people have been on the front lines of this for a long time, and we've been preaching peace. We've been advocating for peace, and we've been doing it the right way. And we've been going to school, and we've been telling these kids. But at some point, the peace that you talk about and the peace that we talk about differentiates. There's a difference between it, because we get to a point where you can't keep kicking a dog before he bites you back.
Right. Now, lastly, you know, what can people do? You know, so many people, a lot of people can't be on the front lines. You know, a lot of people can't drive up to Minneapolis and support like you. So for people that can't, what do you suggest that they do? You know, whether is to donate for the funds, because we know it is expensive. We know that when you go out there, you got to pay for hotels, and there's a probability that you will get arrested. That people have to pay for bond and bail, and pay for attorneys, and pay for your gas, and pay for the cars to get up there, and pay for everything, street signs and all that. So what can people do, and what do for people just to say, hey, we want to help, but we can't make it out there. We want to stand with you guys, but we can't stand on the front line. So what do you tell people that want to back you guys?
What I tell people is there's so many different entry points into this movement. Some people are on social media all day. Sometimes you have to lift the words that we speak on your social media. That's a very big platform right now. We realize, especially during this pandemic, that spreading the word through social media, especially through social distancing in these times, that's a very big platform. So if you have a platform and you have a voice, utilize that to spread the message that we have. Show that you are aligned with with justice, that you are aligned with what it is that we're fighting for. And as you said, you can donate to organizations. If you see the people doing the work, there are people like our organization, Until Freedom, that you can donate to. We have a website. We have an Instagram page. We have Cash App. Because as you said, we've been out here for the last 5 days, and it's expensive. We unfortunately we came to Kentucky first with Breonna Taylor, the young lady who was shot 8 times in her home by the police, who did a no-knock raid and didn't even run into her home. They shot through her home, and we shot through the windows.
Right.
After they kicked her door through, and her boyfriend shot one shot as a warning shot because he thought that he was being robbed, and they shot through this woman's home and shot her 8 times. They shot over 30 shots. After they didn't even say, hell, this is the police or anything. And they killed this woman. This was a good woman. She was an EMT worker. Nobody said a bad word. So we had to go there to protest for her. Then we drove down the block to Indianapolis, where young man, Mikhail Rose, was shot in front of his home by an officer who was unarmed. So then to hear on the way from there that this happened to George Floyd. So we didn't anticipate being away for over a week, having to drive. We drove from Indianapolis, a 10-hour ride. We had to come here, been here for the last 4 days, where you got to pay hotel fees, you got to eat, you got to survive. We got to take planes, probably going to be here for extended amount of time until all this blows over, because it looks like, the DA still hasn't seen evidence that it's criminal. So, we want to be here to uplift the voice. We want to be on these front lines. We want to make sure that our voices are heard. We want to continue to stand up and be on the front lines for people who can't. So yes, we do need donations if it's possible. There are so many different ways. I tell people, you have to utilize you have to know what it is that you can do that can contribute. Sometimes some people don't have them, but we have people who have donated $3 and $4 to us. And we said, this is all I have. And those $3 and $4 mean so much to me, because I know that you don't really have that. And for you to give $3 and $4, that means that you really wanted to donate because you really want change. And unfortunately, these are the times we are in. So, any donations that you give to our organization, we definitely appreciate it. And, and we're going to utilize it for the people. And what we do also is, when we are getting donations, whatever city we go to, there are grassroots organizations in the cities that we actually go to. So as a national organization, we come and we bring those resources and we donate to the grassroots organizations who've been doing the work in the cities. Like right now, today we have a press conference, and a lot of Steven Jackson is going to be there, and a lot of different celebrities are going to come there to speak on behalf and demand justice here. And there's organizers who've been here,
right?
Who've been here for years before. When Philando Castile was killed in this is the same town that Philando Castile was killed in.
Mm-hmm.
This same town, a young Somali officer accidentally shot a white woman. Accidentally shot her, and they sentenced this officer to 12 years. He was locked up, arrested, and he's doing 12 years in prison. So we know that they can charge officers for killing. So they just don't do it when it's us. And,
right.
So those are ways that you can support us, man. Anything, but just do something. I see people online. The thing that pisses me off, Envy, is when people are online telling me what I do Doesn't matter. Or you shouldn't be, nobody kids, you need to be doing that. I tell them, why don't you do something? Just do anything. I don't care what you do. And don't tell me to do something that you're not willing to do. Don't tell me to go out and shoot and do this and that. When I didn't see you just go out and say nothing.
Absolutely.
You know, so
and we appreciate you. So, Mysonne, we got to go on right now, but I appreciate you so much, and we appreciate the fight. And thank you so much for checking in and being so real with it. Like, you are unapologetically the person that you are, and we grateful and we thank you. You know what I mean? We definitely do. And shout out to Tamika Mallory and Linda South. So I think they're out there with you. And we appreciate all you guys, man. And thank you so much. And we'll continue to push, and we'll continue to have your back. And thank you, brother.
Thank you for always supporting us, Envy, man. And we're going to continue to fight until we can't fight no more. So, yes, until freedom.
All right. Well, continue to check in and appreciate you, brother. Be safe out there.
You too.
Love, bro.